Our Nation Sports Show.
Tonight on the Nation Sports Show, we break down the 2024 Home Run Derby. And also tonight, we talk about the rumors in the NFL going around that Devontae Adams could be traded away from the Raiders to the Jets and more. It's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
What is going on, everybody? We are here. We are live for another edition of our Nation Sports Show, live here on the World Wide Web, here on YouTube.com. What is going on here, everybody? I am your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. And before I get to my co-host for tonight, we got to plug the social media platforms. Up first on Twitter, or X, as the kids call it these days. On Twitter at ON_sports show, Facebook.com and YouTube.com. Both at our Nation Sports Show, where we are live right now on YouTube. Same time, same channel. You know the deal. You know the drill. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. And unfortunately, due to massive storms last night in the Indiana-Chicago area, Ezra is not on with us right now. His power is still out. And unfortunately, his power is out. But we are here. We are live. And joining me tonight is one of my good friends. He is my brother from another mother. He is a Washington Commanders football fan. He is also an Atlanta Braves fan. And one of his Braves players was in the home run derby last night. But anyways, JT, Joey Thornton, what's going on, man? Oh, I set him up beautifully. And he blew it. Anyways.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. But what's going on, everybody? And I do want to point out, being a Washington Commanders fan is a whole lot better than being a Carolina Panthers fan. Sorry about that, Steven.
Wrong. Let's be honest, it's better than being a Dallas Cowboys fan.
This is the truth. Because I can see it now. Them Dallas Cowboy fans are already loading up on alcohol, saying, "Oh, we're going to be the best team in all the land. Nobody's going to beat us. It's been 30 years since we won the Super Bowl. It ain't going to be 31. This is our year."
Cowboys
boys.
Cowboys go Super Bowl? That's right. You can go to the big game if you use SeatGeek.
Yeah.
As Tree would say in his videos. Anyways.
As a matter of fact, the only time Dallas will ever see a Super Bowl trophy again is if the Super Bowl game is held in Dallas.
Well, speaking of Dallas, something took place yesterday in Arlington, Texas, and that was the Home Run Derby.
Yes, it was.
And what also took place last night was, honest to God, before the Home Run Derby even started, the worst national anthem performance ever. Congratulations, Fergie. You are no longer number one. Ingrid Andress, for the love of God. That was horrible. Horrible. I mean,
Horrible.
From the first 4 notes, it was that bad. She was off pitch. She was off key. There was no power. There was no control. None of that. it was horrible to listen to. And just for full disclosure, I did not hear this as it happened live. I tuned into the home run derby at around 8:15, 8:20 when it was starting. But my God, did I hear about it and did I read about it on Twitter and on social media that this was horrible? And I was told by friends, it's not good. I'm like, all right, I'll check it out tomorrow. And holy Christ, is it that bad? It's horrible. I mean, it makes Fergie's performance of the national anthem at the 2018 NBA All-Star Game sound like the best performance since Whitney Houston.
Yeah,
I mean, good.
That's really saying something.
Absolutely, it's saying something. I mean, what a horrible performance this was. I mean, and Andrews came out today and said, I was drunk, I'm sorry, and I'm checking myself into rehab. I'm sorry. But if you are getting up there and you are honoring America with our national anthem, you better get up there and you better nail it. Now, if you make a mistake, yeah, it sucks. It's live. That happens because Christina Aguilera famously fluttered the lyrics of the national anthem at Super Bowl 45 when it was the Packers and the Steelers in 2011 in Dallas. But at least she did sound good. That's the thing. She actually sounded good despite messing up the lyrics. Ingrid Andress, on the other hand, did not mess up the lyrics. She just sucked completely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was horrible on the ears to listen to because all I could do was go, oh my God, and oof, as that was going on. Because from the first four notes, I could not believe what I was hearing. It was embarrassing that this even happened. And if I'm any of the players in Arlington last night, I'm trying not to laugh, but damn, this is horrible. I mean, it was not good at all.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the best. I mean, I personally did not see that disaster happen live because I was kind of busy watching Rhea Ripley's opening promo last night on Raw, which was very good, by the way.
Yes, it was.
But anyways, yeah, I didn't see it happen live, but I was on Facebook throughout the night, and I was seeing posts about this national anthem, and they were saying that it was absolutely god-awful. It was the worst rendition of the national anthem they've ever heard. And I was like, well, I mean, it's time to see for myself. So this morning before I went to work, I saw another post about it. So I decided, you know what? I'll just pull it up myself and see how bad it really was. At the end of the video, my mouth was wide open in shock because of how god-awful it was. I'm sorry. And I mean, I do not mean to bash on any celebrity at any given time because celebrities, they work hard. I'll give them that. They work hard for what they have gotten in this lifetime. But in this case, she is a 4-time Grammy nominee. And for those of y'all that don't know, the Grammys is one of the most prestigious awards ever given to a celebrity. And
no wonder she's never won a Grammy in her life.
Yeah, she is a 4-time Grammy nominee. Now, as far as what she's been nominated for, I don't know. But after that performance last night, I'm pretty sure it's not for singing. Because that was awful. I hate to say it, but it was absolutely awful. And an article broke out that I actually read on the ESPN app earlier today saying that she apologized to Major League Baseball, to the fans, to the players. She was like, that was not me last night. I was drunk during my performance, and I've now decided to enter into rehab to learn how to better myself. And I'm like, well, kudos to you for admitting what was wrong with you last night and for putting yourself in rehab to fix yourself. But still, I mean, you can say I'm sorry to every single person here in the United States, but it's still not going to mean the fact that you put on the most embarrassing performance of the national anthem on the face of the planet.
I mean, I'll just call it like I see it. Like if you are performing live, wouldn't you not think to drink or to do any activity before you go on stage live, especially if you're that drunk? Especially if you're drunk. Because obviously, if you drink so much alcohol, it is going to hinder your performance.
Yeah.
And last night, no wonder it was so bad. Because she not only was she drunk, but she was also trying to do too much and try too hard. I mean, she was trying to do all these different things, and she just fell flat on her face in front of the entire world. I mean, it was that bad. Like there was like when she would try to do some of these notes, she wasn't even hitting them. Like they were flat, they were off pitch, they were off key. Her rhythm was bad, and this is coming from a drummer's perspective. When you are singing a cappella, you have no track backing you. It's just you and the microphone. And when you're singing with no track, you have to learn how to sing in rhythm and on key, obviously. So, from a performer's standpoint, if you are going to be singing the national anthem or doing any performance, make sure you have your boundaries checked. And when you go in front of them people, now, and here's my problem. Now you're saying, oh, I'm going to go to rehab after that. Here's my question. How the hell long is she going to stay in there? Just saying. I mean, you're going to check into rehab after that. If this has been a problem the entire time, let's just say last night. Let's say if she would have nailed it, right? She ain't checking into rehab. I'm just saying. I'm being as completely honest as I can be. If she would have nailed that national anthem last night, oh my God, it was so great. It was so great. She would not be checking herself into rehab. All because she fell flat on her face in front of the entire world watching her on ESPN. Now she's coming out and saying, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I was drunk last night. I'm going to rehab. What a crock of shit. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But moving on, got to get the bad and get to the good. The home run derby last night happened, and it was, It was pretty entertaining.
It was. I mean, whenever I read the rules last week during the show, I mean, I was reading it. I was like, this sounds kind of confusing. But seeing it unwind last night, it actually makes a lot more sense because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the home run derbies in the past were always so plain. It was kind of dull. I mean, yeah, it's exciting to watch these players hit home run after home run after home run, but there's more to a home run derby than just hitting home runs. Now, granted, it is the home run derby for a reason, but you also want to make sure there is some form of entertainment when it comes to these type of events. And last night, seeing it unwind the way it did, that was actually the most entertaining home run derby I have seen in a very long time, because you never knew what was going to happen, because in the first round and second rounds, these batters saw a maximum of 40 pitches, or they got to bat for exactly 3 minutes, with a bonus round that lets you see however many home runs you could hit before you can get 3 outs or 4 outs if one of the home runs you hit in a bonus round went over 425 feet. So,
Yep.
I mean, it was very entertaining last night. I mean, yes, it did kind of suck to see my boy Marcell Ozuna get eliminated in the first round, but hey, what else is new? But all jokes aside, seriousness, I mean, yeah, that was one of the best home run derbies I've ever seen.
So, Randy,
it was so entertaining. It kept everybody on the edge of their seats because you never know what was going to happen. You never knew what was going to happen. And speaking of derbies, every derby's got to have a winner, right? So in this case, congratulations to Los Angeles Dodger outfielder Teoscar Hernandez for winning last night's home run derby in thrilling fashion, just barely beating fellow Kansas City Royal Bobby Witt Jr. in the finals.
And Bobby Witt Jr. last night had an outstanding performance, as well as Jose Ramirez. I mean, just two of the players besides Hernandez that also had great performances. And I mean, Witt Jr. got the party started with 21 home runs.
Yeah, actually, it was Alec Bowman that got it started.
Bowman, that's right, Bowman. Alec Bowman's the one that got it started with 21, and then Witt Jr. had 20. My bad. And
I mean, I'll tell you one thing though. One hitter who looked incredibly sharp last night, competing in his first ever home run derby, that really impressed me, in my opinion, was Cleveland Guardian Jose Ramirez.
Ramirez absolutely came to play last night. I mean, tying
the
21 run mark set by Witt Jr. and just was it Bowman? I'm getting because those two had incredible.
It was Bowman.
Bowman, yeah. Bowman had 21, and so did Ramirez in the first round. But just an incredible performance by Jose. I mean, he was on a hot streak, and knocking them out of the park, and just those three put on an incredible performance in the first round. Now, speaking of the first round,
absolutely, and
there is,
and I gotta say, Hernandez. I gotta say real quick, Hernandez, he barely got into the semis,
squeaking past Garcia,
squeaking past the hometown boy Adolis Garcia.
Barely. Garcia last night was he was on a run in that first round. He had 9 of 11 pitches in a row where he was hitting homers. And then when he got to the bonus round, he didn't even hit a home run. I mean, something was off, in the bonus round for him. But in that first round, he was great. But he was the first one out since Hernandez knocked him out with the 19th home run in the bonus round. But the shocker of all shockers, in my opinion, and we touched upon this, in the pre-show, was Pete Alonso.
Yeah, I mean, Pete Alonso. I mean, Alonso is a 2-time home run derby winner. He won his derbies back in 2019 and 2021. So technically, since there wasn't a home run derby in 2020, he technically went back to back. Technically, he went back to back. But last night, it just seemed something was off about him. I mean, I don't know if it was just the pitches that he saw, or I don't know what it was, but a lot.
Yeah, because that's what was shocking to me, because Alec Bowman and Witt Jr. and and Hernandez and Garcia, they weren't the favorites going into this home run derby.
No, it was
Alonso was the clear odds-on favorite to win.
Yeah.
Only had 12 home runs.
Only 12 home runs, and he finished next to last. The only person that did worse was Baltimore Orioles shortstop Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, he struggled big time.
Yeah, he kind of struggled big time. But now, tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, on Fox, check your local listings. It is the game of all games, the American League versus the National League.
before we get to that, as far as last night in the semi round, because that was very entertaining.
Oh yeah,
Very entertaining.
we had a swing off between Alec Bohm and Teoscar Hernandez.
Hernandez beat Bohm 2-1. I mean, just
Yeah, in the
what
swing off.
and Bohm almost won.
Almost.
Insane.
I mean, literally, he came, I say, about 5 to 6 feet short. I mean, literally, if he would have hit that ball straight to left field, like straight to left field, that would have been the game tying homer, and we would have had another swing off.
Yeah, because that's what the people were. That's what the broadcasters were saying on the MLB Network radio last night. They said if Alec Bohm would have hit that ball just a little bit more to the left, he would have hit it out of the park. Not once, but twice. I mean, because him and Hernandez were tied at 14 or 13, excuse me, at 13 runs. Right. And then Bohm, just he barely missed that last one that would have won in the round and squeaked him past Hernandez to go to the next round. But my goodness, I mean, even with the rule changes last night, I was thoroughly surprised how much I actually enjoyed it, because it wasn't just, home runs, home runs, home runs. When you got to the bonus round, that's where it was strategic.
Yeah.
Because you actually had to guess the pitches and where the pitcher was throwing it.
Right.
So, again, if this is how they're going with it next year, I like it because it's very strategic. Because it doesn't matter if you have 20 home runs. If you have 5 pitches left, that's all you got.
Yeah.
That is all you got. That is it.
That's it.
I like it. It's very strategic. It's very strategic because Garcia, because Bohm, because Witt Jr., they were all, and also Ramirez, they were all also taking timeouts as well at times. Because when you're swinging that bat at that rate, like, you have to take some time, to adjust yourself. And everybody that made it, competitive last night played their cards right. But that's what made this more differently, because it wasn't the prototypical, 35 home runs, 40 home runs, whatever. It was very strategic in how these players attack the ball. And I think the crowd last night in Arlington had a really good time. And obviously, they wanted their boy Garcia to win, but obviously he didn't. And he looked like he was going to get in the next round, but obviously he didn't. And just he swung so well in the first round, and then he literally struck out in the bonus round. But he was kind of a surprise to me that he didn't get to the second round, because, I mean, Alec Bohm and Witt Jr. and Hernandez and Ramirez was my favorite to win, because every home run derby he's been in, he's been ultra competitive. Like, I was like, oh yeah, he's ready to play. He was swinging for the fences, and he was doing really well, and he lost barely, and he lost barely in the semi round. And congratulations to everybody that made it that far last night. It was a really fun home run derby. And it's fun last night when Michael Buffer is introducing Hernandez and Bohm last night. That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Was it Bohm? That Hernandez faced, or was it Witt Jr. again?
Who?
Last night in the final.
Oh, it was Hernandez against Witt.
When he was introducing Witt Jr. and Hernandez, that was awesome. I mean, it was like a heavyweight fight, and just, my goodness. I mean, what an absolutely fun time that was last night, listening to that on MLB Network Radio on Sirius XM, and the players that qualified for this and did an outstanding job for the most part. So hats off to everybody last night. again, congratulations to Hernandez beating Witt Jr. last night in the 2024 Home Run Derby last night. That was quite a bit of fun. And like you said, Joey, I was kind of confused on the rule changes. But once it unfolded last night, I was like, you know what, man, this is really fun. Like, because you could tell that the players were, being very competitive and they were trying to attack the game, at a, they were how they were going to, be strategic in the game,
Right.
And so, but clearly Hernandez was the one to me that once he got going in that second round, because that's when he got ultra hot. He was already hot in the first round, but when he got to that semifinal round, he definitely caught fire in that second round. Now,
oh yeah.
Now I know that Alonso is your favorite to win, but who was your favorite? Who was your favorite after Alonso went out?
Oh well, man, I wasn't really pulling for Alonso. I was hoping for him to fail because I can't really stand Alonso. But of course, me being an Atlanta Braves guy, I got to go. I mean, my favorite going into last night was, of course, Ozuna, because
of course he
represented my Atlanta Braves. I was hoping for him to do well, but when he got knocked out in the first round, to be brutally honest, I didn't really care who won after Ozuna got knocked out. I was just wanting to see an exciting finish to the Home Run Derby, and that's exactly what we all got last night.
Yeah, I mean, that's true because like going into the Home Run Derby, like I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I was very impressed by Alec Bohm and by Witt Jr. and Hernandez and Garcia in the first round, and obviously Jose Ramirez, his performance in the first couple of rounds, ultimately getting knocked out in the semifinals. And again, just everybody last night, seemed to have a lot of fun, enjoying themselves, and obviously the regular season's taking a break. And then tonight is the All-Star game, the NL versus the AL, and it should be a very interesting game. So that'll be taking place, like Joey said, at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
That's right. And the two starters for the game are for the American League. It's going to be Baltimore Oriole ace Corbin Burns, and for the National League, it's going to be the rookie phenom from the Pittsburgh Pirates, the one and only Paul Skeens. So it'll be interesting and see. And after losing for the past 8 years in a row, the National League finally pulled out of their slumber and won the All-Star game last year.
Yep.
So let's see if tonight they can actually make it 2 in a row.
So we shall see who wins tonight.
Yes, we shall. But in all honesty, I'm honestly ready for this All-Star break to be over, because once tonight's game ends, then that means that means all Atlanta Braves fans everywhere are going to be starting the countdown. The countdown to next year's All-Star game, All-Star break, because it was announced a few months back that Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Braves, Truist Park, is going to be the host of all All-Star events next year. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Maybe you should try going next year.
That would be nice, but tickets are probably going to be through the roof.
Probably. But again, like I said, congratulations to everybody that participated last night. Very entertaining restructuring of the rules with the Home Run Derby last night. Congratulations to Hernandez winning the 2024 Home Run Derby contest last night. And moving on, and upon reading on the World Wide Web, the agents for one Davante Adams have squashed all of the rumors floating around that Davante Adams was requesting a trade to go to the Jets. Because Dan Orlovsky said that his sources are, quote, he was saying I have reliable sources, to confirming that Adams is requesting a trade from the Raiders to go to the Jets and play with Aaron Rodgers. Well, I believe the agents over these so-called analysts, these anchors, on Sports Center these days. Because all Orlovsky was trying to do was get clicks. That's all he was trying to do.
And honestly, it honestly don't matter to me, and I'm pretty sure it don't matter to anybody else, that it doesn't matter who Aaron Rodgers gets as a receiver. It don't matter if it's Amon St. Brown. It don't matter if it's Tyreek Hill. It don't matter if it's Devontae Adams. Hey, it don't even matter if it's Jay Jettis himself. Rodgers is still going to suck.
If he has that putrid offensive line like he did last year, he will be out again.
Yeah.
Because you can have all the great weapons in the NFL, but at the end of the day, you have to have an offensive line that can protect your quarterback.
Exactly. And I know a certain somebody has week one circled on his calendar.
Yes, he does.
Of course, Mr. Leonard Floyd.
He's licking his chops.
Yes, he is.
And also, nice little segue there, Joey, that the San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk there's been rumors floating around that he is requesting a trade, but he wants to get a max contract with San Francisco instead of the Niners.
I mean, he said that he either wants to get paid or he wants to get traded.
And he's been fighting like hell to get the max extension with San Francisco in the offseason. And it's going to be tough, to...
Honestly, this is Deebo Samuel all over again.
Yes, it is. Because this is so tough because, yeah, you got Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, you got George Kittle. Yeah, you got Deebo Samuel. But
you got Run CMC.
Yep. You got all of those guys. You got Brock Purdy and on your offensive side of the football. And obviously, with the salary cap in the NFL and all of sports, it's going to be hard to keep the same team around for a long time because you can't keep everybody unless you take a crazy, stupid pay cut. So,
sure.
So I understand why Ayuk wants to get paid, but here's my thing. Playing devil's advocate here again when it comes to this situation. If he gets paid, will he play like a top wide receiver? Because he has the talent. But Joey, Kevin knows, Ezra knows, Randy knows, William knows. Shout outs to William and Randy last week for being on the show last week. That was fun. You guys know that if you are a top, sports athlete and you get paid, there are those players that do not show up the rest of the way and play like a top true talent should be playing. Because my worry is for Ayuk, here's my thing. Is he going to show up to training camp when that starts if he does not get a max deal? Because as we all know, and we'll get to this in a little bit, but T. Higgins, for the longest time, has been asking to get paid with Cincinnati. And obviously he accepted the franchise tag. But if you're Brandon Ayuk, you're still under contract. If you don't get that max contract, he needs to show up. I'm sorry. He needs to show up because he is a key contributing part to that team making a Super Bowl run on their offensive side of the ball.
I mean, you're not wrong, but this is something that we have seen several times over, and this just happens to fall under Ayuk's hands this year, and that is the fact that Ayuk is still on a rookie contract, but this is his last year under that rookie contract. So, I mean, I get where Ayuk is coming from, and I can see why Ayuk wants this money because ever since he first came to San Francisco via the draft a few years back, Ayuk has completely ripped up secondaries. He has ripped them up. He has ripped some of the best corners in today's NFL to shreds because of how amazing and how open he can get when he's running a slant or running a seam route. Or, heck, even if it's a screen pass, he still finds a way to get some good yardage out of it. Because Ayuk is the definition of a great NFL receiver. He is the epitome of the receiving core right now for this 49er team alongside Debo and George Kittle. And I personally think that this is all just a way to get John Lynch to get up off his seat and give Ayuk the money he deserves, because this is turning into Debo Samuel 2.0. Because Debo Samuel pulled this same tactic a couple years ago, saying that, I'm going to request a trade. I feel like I need to go elsewhere. No, this was all just a negotiation tactic, trying to scare that 49er front office, and hate to say it, but it worked. Debo got the contract that he wanted, and now he's still tearing it up in San Francisco. So, but yeah, I mean, Steven, you're right. I mean, looking at this 49er team, you got an up-and-coming quarterback who's honestly one of the best quarterbacks right now in the game in Brock Purdy. You got the best running back, one of the best running backs in the game right now in Run CMC. You got 3 amazing wide receivers, even though one of them is technically a tight end, but you can still consider him a receiver. And, of course, Debo, Ayuk, and George Kittle. And not to mention, you got these defensive studs on the other side of the ball, like Fred Warner, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa. I mean, you got these top-notch defensive players who can strike at any time. I mean, this 49er team is definitely a hard team to beat on paper. But what Steven alluded to is money. And like it or not, people, money plays a key part in determining things. And that includes how long an NFL franchise can stay elite with all the players they bring in. Because those names that I just mentioned, I'm sorry, but that is a lot of huge egos on 2 sides of the ball. And as much as John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan may want to keep this team together, money-wise, it's not going to work out in the long run. Some of these players are going to have to go elsewhere.
Exactly.
Because the team only has so much cap space.
Mm-hmm.
And having all these big-time talent on your team at one time, it's eventually going to start costing you. And for some players, it's going to be good, but for others, it's going to lead to a one-way ticket out of San Fran and to other teams that's out there in the world. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how long the 49ers can keep this team together.
Oh, absolutely, because as we all know, no matter if you win the Super Bowl, you lose the Super Bowl, we have seen some of the greatest teams in the NFL and in sports in general have a great couple of years. And then just like that, with a blink of an eye, everybody's gone.
Yep.
Because not everybody can stay. Not everybody can stay on the same team for years to come, like I said, unless you take a stupid pay cut.
Yep.
And real quick before we move on, I did want to give some interesting stats from last night's home run derby. So obviously, as we know, Alec Bone kicked it off last night, had obviously 21 home runs. Let's see, he had longest home run was 445 feet. Hardest home run was 105 miles per hour. Then moving on down, Bobby Witt Jr. had 20 home runs. His longest home run was 406 miles per 406 feet. Or excuse me, 435 feet. Excuse me. Hardest home run was 106 miles per hour. I was getting some of those numbers mixed up. Hernandez had 19. Let's see. He had longest was 466. Holy crap. Hardest home run, 111 miles per hour. Moving along. Oh, Alonso, obviously, as we all know, he struggled. Longest home run for Pete, for the love of Pete. His longest home run was, I popped myself on that one, 446 feet. His hardest home run was 109 miles per hour. Ramirez obviously had 21, just like Bohm did. Longest home run was 419 feet. Hardest home run was 107 miles per hour. Let's see. Your boy Azuna, he had 16. Longest home run 470. Whoa. 473 feet.
Even though he got eliminated in the first round, he did hit the longest home run in the entire home run derby last night, 473 feet.
And I bet you that pitch was the 473 feet run was going 110 miles per hour. I bet you.
Probably.
And oh, I missed somebody. Garcia, where's Garcia? Give me a sec. And also interesting too to note before I continue that obviously Ramirez 2 years ago pitched it or hit the home run derby hit in the home run derby 2 years ago right-handed, and then this year switched back to left, and it paid off with dividends. There it is, Garcia.
Oh, yeah.
Garcia had 18 home runs. Longest home run for Garcia was 435 feet. Hardest home run was 106 miles per hour. And those are your stats in the first round. Let's see. While I'm at it, why not round number 2? Bohm, he had he had 14. Longest in the second round was 431 feet. Hardest pitch, 103 miles per hour. And Hernandez finished 14 in the tie, obviously. And then he won in the swung off. Longest, 454 feet. Hardest pitch, 109 miles per hour. This is fun reading this stuff. Which Junior finished with 17 in the second round. Longest, 454. Hardest, 108 miles per hour. And Ramirez finished. Oh, he's struggling. I remember that too. He did finish struggling in the second round. Total 12. Christ. And his longest home run was 407 feet. And hardest pitch was 103 miles per hour. I believe that's it on that. Next. Again, folks, we are live here on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook at Nation's Corner, and YouTube.com/The Nation's Corner, where they are live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And getting here into the next round, the final round, I believe this is, yep, the finals. Which Jr., he finished within the final round, 13 home runs. Longest home run was 457 feet, and hardest 110 miles per hour. And the winner in the 2024 Home Run Derby, Hernandez, to the total 14. And his longest was 454 miles per hour, 111. And those are your stats for the 2024 Home Run Derby. Figured we broke it down, might as well pull off the stats. So again, congratulations to everybody, like I said, competing in last night's Home Run Derby. It was a very fun affair last night.
Yes, it was.
So as far as the NFL is concerned, picking back onto that, we were talking about this because, as we all know, Christian McCaffrey had a great year last year with San Francisco. And he led the NFL in rushing. He was a candidate for MVP. Obviously, he didn't win the award. To me, he should have. But I see why Lamar Jackson won, because he had a great year. And he put up some impressive numbers. And despite all of our criticisms last year, he proved us wrong in the regular season. But if you're going to be good in the regular year, you got to be good when it matters the most, folks. But Christian McCaffrey being the star player that he is. So I'm wondering, Joey, so let's just say, if Ayuk does reach a max contract with San Francisco, obviously you got Run CMC there for a couple of more years. But if Ayuk does end up staying with San Francisco, who do you see leaving? And I know Kevin has talked about this. He has said Debo leaves. But I'll ask this to you. Does Debo go? And also, does another key piece on the offensive line or an offensive weapon go away as well if that were to happen? What do you think?
This is a really hard question because the 49ers, they did draft a wide receiver in the tail end of the first round of the NFL draft back in April.
They did.
So that pretty much tells me that a wide receiver is going to be out the door. But
it's tough, I know.
It's really tough, but I gotta agree with Kevin. I think it's gonna be Debo.
Unfortunately, again, if you're gonna pay a wide receiver that kind of money, not everybody can stay, because Debo is gonna be asking for money.
Oh yeah.
But the one thing I would be concerned if I'm a Niners fan.
Asking for money.
The one thing I would be concerned if I am a player in the NFL, or excuse me, if I'm Ayuk, you need to show up and play if you get that max deal, because that's the only way this is going to work out.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So with that being said, like I said, I think that, and I know Kevin, when he's been on the show with us, he's talked about how Ayuk and Purdy have this chemistry, and they do. But also, Debo has a chemistry with Brock Purdy. And Debo, to me, in my opinion, is a better player than Ayuk because he's a more diverse player. I'm not saying Ayuk is not a good player. I'm just saying from a talent, a talent-wise, skilled-wise, he's the better player. Because he can run, like a true wide receiver, run routes efficiently, catch passes efficiently, get those tough passes when they matter. And also, he can run the ball like a running back. And he proved that 5 years ago in the Super Bowl against Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, and he can also throw a touchdown, apparently.
Yeah, that's true.
So, with that being said,
he can do it all.
He can. And now, I will say now, Ayuk, the one thing he can do is catch those deep balls, and catch those critical passes over the middle. But that's the one concern that I would have if I'm a Niners fan, and I am one as well. And that's why I'm asking the question. If you're Ayuk and you get paid, is he going to play like he wants to, be paid? Or is he going to be like some of these other typical players, get the money and get the hell out of there, with his playing, and not play like he wants to get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because, we've seen it both ways. We have seen these players ask for long-term contracts. They get them, and then it's like, they play like they're worth it. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, we see these long-term contracts, and then once they get it, they go out and play, or I said they don't play worth a shit.
Nope, they don't. And we've talked about this before, over the years with these NFL contracts and with these NBA contracts, that they're having players that are getting paid, and they're not even worth the money they're being paid.
No.
But there are those players that get paid and they play like they're big time players. Like obviously in the NBA last year, Jaylen Brown showed us all the hell up. Mr. $300 million came out there with a max contract and kicked ass and took names and won the MVP last year in the NBA Finals.
Yep.
So,
now Jason Tatum, his teammate, has a max deal.
Yep.
So is it going to be Jason Tatum's turn this upcoming year?
Who knows? And obviously Derek White got paid good a couple weeks ago in the offseason in the NBA. And we've talked about this before. Might as well bring it up on the show because we're live. Bronny James. Bronny. So far in the Summer League, you have been absolutely nothing. Turning the ball over, struggling to shoot the three. He can't score right now. And I know he's a young player. He's just getting his feet wet and, here in the Summer League, but it'll matter most obviously when the regular year starts up. But I'm sorry. You drafted your boy on the Lakers. You got what you wanted, but you could have gotten a talent that can play at a high caliber level already. I'm just saying. Because there are plenty of college athletes that have either been drafted like Connect, who went to Tennessee, and took the Volunteers to the brink of the championship, who played his ass off in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. And then you got Bronny, who went to USC, and he's being treated, Oh, if he goes to the Lakers, first time father son plays in the NBA together, blah, blah, blah. All this hoopla, all this crap, all this circus. Nobody cares. He is going to get a nice slice of humble pie when the season starts. Hell, he's already getting into Summer League. It's just getting started.
Yeah, and I am going to share this because when I saw this comment that Bronny made, I immediately called you, Steven, to let you know what he said. Because Bronny apparently was asked a question about comparing himself to Luka Doncic. And Bronny literally had this to say. He said, oh, the only reason Luka is more popular is because he came from Europe. I'm just as good as Doncic, if not better.
If that's the case, Luka just made the NBA Finals with the Dallas Mavericks.
What? He's just as good as Doncic, if not better? What?
Crazy. If that's the case, then Bronny's barking up the wrong tree.
I mean, my gosh, Bronny. You were the 55th player taken in this NBA draft.
And there it is on TikTok. Good Lord.
You were 55th out of 58. That means there were 54 players better than you that got picked before you. And yet, you think you were the steal of the 2024 draft? I mean, no offense, Bronny, but no. I mean, I will say that there is one thing that I would give Bronny props on, and that is the fact that he had that cardiac problem. I want to say it was last July that kept him on the shelf for quite some time. I'll give him props for that.
I sympathize with. Because that is the one thing I will say. Here's a young man that just suffered that freak accident, and he came back. That is awesome. I commend him for continuing to play sports. But please do not get in the media and say ridiculous things.
Yeah. For real.
So with that being said,
it's definitely not easy to come back from a cardiac problem.
No, God no.
It's definitely not easy to come back and play sports after suffering a cardiac problem. It's not.
It's going to take some time, for him to get back to where he was. But I honestly blame the media. The media tries to put these narratives and these hot button topics and all this different stuff.
Yeah, I do too, to be honest.
Because the media today is not breaking things down from an analyst standpoint. A lot of these times. Now you got a lot of these analysts out there on the big media, like even ESPN, that love to do these. Oh, is this player better than that player? Is this that da 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 crap like that? Like, where do you rank this team? Where do you rank that team? Da 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 da. Just come on, break it down for what it is. I mean, it drives me crazy. How they make topics, just to try to drive ratings and clicks. Drives me crazy.
It absolutely drives me crazy.
But as far as the NFL, back to that is concerned, T. Higgins, like I teased there about 25, 30 minutes ago, T. Higgins has signed his franchise tag to be with Cincinnati for next year. Now, if you're T. Higgins, you are one of the best receivers to play in the NFL in the modern era. You went to a Super Bowl with Cincinnati in 2021. And he's had several great years with Cincinnati and Joe Burrow and company. And if you're Higgins, I get why he's griping, why he wants to get paid. But yet again, you can't keep everybody around. Just ask Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is gone with the Texans. And so here's my question to you. As far as T. Higgins is concerned, after this year, no matter how good he does or bad, but hopefully good, because he is a great player. If he does great, does he stay with the team? Or does he move on to another team?
I don't know. I mean, T. Higgins is definitely a great receiver, and there are several NFL teams out there that could use T. Higgins as potentially a number one guy because, I mean, let's keep it real. As long as T. Higgins is in Cincinnati, he's going to be seen as the number two guy behind Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is clearly the number one guy, and also, it's Joe Burrow's best friend, his favorite target.
And they won a championship together in college.
Yeah, and they won the 2019 national championship together. So, yeah, it makes sense from that perspective to see T. Higgins as a number two. But again, I say T. Higgins, he has the talent to be a number one receiver somewhere. Because there are some teams out there that could use a number one receiver. Now, granted, there are a lot of teams that may say that they have a number one receiver, but it turns out they honestly don't. Because I do know one certain receiver who apparently can't CD ball to save his life. Still the best one-liner in the history of the sports show.
And if you're
Shout out
wondering
to
where you
Kate
can find that
Upton
glorious
for that one.
one-liner, it's September 13th, 2022. 22.
Yep, 2022. September 13th. Still the best one-liner in the history of the
So glad we
show.
found that clip in the archives. Oh, so good. So good.
Yes, that was great. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of teams out there that could use a number one wide receiver. And one of those, and no, I know I pick on you about it a lot, but this time I'm not going to, Steven. I'm being straight up serious here. The Carolina Panthers, they do not have a number one target.
No.
Regardless of who they have on that roster right now, none of those receivers are number one because Carolina decided, oh, no. David Tepper decided to do the stupid thing and trade your number one receiver to Chicago for the top draft pick. And what did that get you? A quarterback who literally ran for his life because that O-line was so weak, putrid, and pathetic. So, I mean, I like Bryce Young. I do. Because he was a great quarterback for the University of Alabama when he was in college. But one thing that needs to go through each NFL team's mind going into the season is a team's quarterback is only as good if the offensive line does their job. And that is why quarterbacks such as Mahomes, such as Justin Herbert, such as Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy. All these players have been able to put up great numbers, not just because of the talent that they have around them that can catch passes that are thrown to them, but those stats are also very impressive because those QBs have an offensive line that can protect them at all costs. Because I'm not going to lie, it's no given, it is a given truth when a quarterback, it is a given truth that a quarterback cannot put up great numbers if he's lying on his back.
And it also goes with having an offensive line.
Yeah. Because, you can have the best quarterback in the NFL game today, but if you don't have an O-line to protect that quarterback, then that's going to make this whole ordeal seem lackluster.
Very. Very much so. And it's hard to believe that we are this close to the NFL season. This close.
Yeah, this close.
And also, speaking of football, the new college football game is coming out this week.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I know you, I know Kevin, I know a couple of my friends are so excited for this game to come out this week.
Oh, yeah, and it's already out for people that pre-order the deluxe edition, which includes Madden 25. And yes, I'm not talking about Madden 25 for 2014. I'm not talking about that one.
Can somebody please?
I'm not talking about the one from 10 years ago. I'm talking about the actual Madden 25, the one with Christian McCaffrey on the cover.
Yes. Hey, how can I help you? I think the title of this game should be deleted. What do you mean? What I'm saying to you is I think it should be called Madden 2014. What do you mean? There's technically two Madden 25s. What do you mean? Well, there's one that's the 25th anniversary, and then there's 25 because, it's 24, and usually you're calling it after the next season. Oh, that's right. But wait, can we just keep 25 and add anniversary? Yeah, whatever. Okay. Yeah, they need to do something about that because seriously, how the hell do you have two games with the same friggin' title? I'm just saying. I know I'm blind as a bat, but good Lord. Even I know what a game should be called.
But I will say, on a video game note, we do have to wind up saying rest in peace to NCAA Football 14, which was the last college football game that was released before this one.
Yep.
Over 4,000 days that NCAA Football 14 was at the top. But now, it's not. So rest in peace, NCAA Football 14. It was a great 4,000 days, almost just over 11 years. It was great.
Yep. So if you are a college football fan of video games and you've been longing for a video game in the college football realm, well, this week is your lucky week because College Football 2024 comes out.
Yes, indeed.
Crazy. So I do want to talk about this because unfortunately I have to segue into this, but a couple of days ago we lost in the sports realm. We lost one of the best kick returners and one of the best, roll receive players in the NFL to ever put on a pair of cleats. That's Jacoby Jones.
Passed away tragically at the age of
40.
40 years old, who, granted, had literally just turned 40 3 days prior on July the 11th.
Jacoby Jones,
Uh,
in my memory, the two biggest things that will live on in my memory with his career is that Hail Mary catch he caught with Joe Flacco and the Ravens against the Broncos in 2012. And that very same.
which has been dubbed as the Mile High Miracle.
Yep. And then the next year, kick return in the Super Bowl against San Francisco. 108 yards. Touchdown. That broke the game open at that time. So we would like to say here on behalf of everybody here on the sports show, we would like to send our condolences, our thoughts, and our prayers to the family and friends of Jacoby Jones at this time. And also today, unfortunately, the news came down that Joe Bryant, a.k.a. Jelly Bean, the father of the late, great Kobe Bryant, has passed away at the age of 69.
Yeah, that is very tragic.
And like you said, Joey, Kobe and father, Kobe and Pops are reunited once again.
And it was such that two big figures in literally a couple days' time. And what makes the passing of Jacoby Jones so heartbreaking is the fact that not only did, as I mentioned, he just turned 40 a few days prior, but he also passed away in his sleep.
Yeah.
So, yes, we at the Nation Sports Show send our prayers and condolences to the family of Jacoby Jones, as well as the family of Mr. Joe Jellybean Bryant. But we also want to remind y'all that we here at the sports show, we are sports fans. We've always been sports fans. We always will be sports fans. But sports is not the most important part of this lifetime. It's your family, your friends, the people you grew up with, the people you've had long-lasting friendships and relationships with. So, if you don't do it enough, please hug your friends, hug your family, tell them that you love them. No matter what you have been through in this lifetime with that certain member or members or friends or whatever. Because you never know when it's going to be your time.
Yep. And also to add here with Jacoby Jones, as far as statistics, he was drafted in the 2007 NFL draft in the third round, pick number 73. He played with the Texans. He played with the Baltimore Ravens and obviously won that Super Bowl. And then he played with the San Diego Chargers. Played with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well in the NFL. And I hope I'm saying this right. Monterrey or Steel. That's got to be a Canadian football team. That's what I'm thinking, or international team.
Oh, you mean the team that he was just named the coach for?
No, the team that he played with in 2017.
Gosh, what was that team name? Hang on, let me pull it up real quick.
Also, real quick, he was a first team All Pro in 2012. He was a Pro Bowler in the same year in 2012. Let's see. Anyways. Anyways, folks, we are live here on the Sports Show on most Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show.
Oh yeah, the Monterey Steel.
Monterey, thank you. Monterey Steel.
It is a professional indoor football team of the National Arena.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Joe Bryant. All of his stuff. Joe Bryant was drafted in the 1975 NBA draft in the first round, 14th overall pick, selected by the Golden State Warriors. He played from 1975 to 1991. He was a power forward and a center. His coaching career was from 92 to 2015. As a player, he played with the Golden State Warriors, Philadelphia 76ers from 75 to 79. Let's see. San Diego Clippers from 79 to 82. 1982 to 83 with the Rockets. 83 to 86. The AMG Sebastian. What I cannot pronounce it. I am so sorry. Sebastiani Ready? That's an interesting name.
Let's see. You say you're looking at Joe Bryant's?
Yes.
Let's see.
Some of these leagues I cannot pronounce. I do apologize.
Let's see. Yeah, he drafted by the Golden State Warriors. Oh yeah, the Sebastiani
Rieti, yeah. Sorry about that.
Then
Butchering that.
Played for Stando Reggio Calabria. Then Olympia Pistoia.
Wow.
Then he played for Reggiana, and then he played for Mulhouse. I'm guessing these are a bunch of European.
Sounds like it to me. And he was also notably a coach for the Los Angeles Sparks from 05 to 07.
And then again in 2011.
Yep.
I mean, he scored just over 5,000 points in his NBA career, which averages to 8.7 points per game, as well as 4 rebounds and 1.7 assists per game.
Figure we give you those stats on their careers. Again, rest in peace to Jacoby Jones and to Joe Jellybean Bryant. Our condolences, our thoughts, and our prayers go out to the entire family and friends. And and we love doing this, but absolutely, Joey, you're right. You're right. What's important is your family and your friends. Tell your family, tell your friends how much they mean to you. Call them, text them. It will mean the world to them. Trust me.
Oh yeah, it definitely will.
And before we go, I do want to talk about last night. WWE Raw last night. Unbelievable. With Rhea Ripley's return and the opening segment. That crowd's pop was unbelievable. And Dom coming out there and getting booed out the damn building and then Liv on the screen. She was great. Getting heel heat. Rhea issued the challenge at SummerSlam. Liv accepted. And just an overall really good segment. I love when Rhea said, I'm going to end your career. I'm not just taking your title. I'm going to end your career. And then also another highlight for me was Drew McIntyre's segment with Adam Pearce. Scrap Daddy. Yeah, that was phenomenal. I loved how McIntyre said, screw your apology, basically. And he is acting crazy because, I mean, if I was in his shoes, I would too. I've been screwed 3 times out of the title match, and I've been screwed an additional time, you know. Uh, Additionally, on Raw after Mania, after losing the belt in 5 minutes. So if I
Yeah.
was him, I would be pissed. And Adam Pearce is like, "You're going to tell them you're sorry?" He said, "Nah, screw you. I ain't apologizing for nothing." I loved it. And speaking of loving, I absolutely loved that latest video in the Wyatt 6. Holy crap.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Eric Rowan had me to the point of tears last night because, yet again, it was real. It was raw. It was reality being projected onto our television screens. I loved how they acknowledged Brody Lee, aka Eric Harper or Luke Harper. Loved how they acknowledged Luke Harper. Loved how they acknowledged Brody Lee and how much he meant to Eric Rowan. And then, obviously, the next one was Bray Wyatt. Just this real raw emotion, crying. Uncle Howdy speaking to him, crying, bringing everybody into the video, feeling those emotions. And him talking about how he felt like he was a nobody, he was nothing, and he would be nothing again. And then Uncle Howdy comes calling and crawling out, reaching a hand, saying, "Hey, I'm here for you, brother." And he took the hand. And just, my God, the way that they are integrating each member now individually, because I think that's where they're going with this. Cinema at its finest.
Yes, absolutely agree.
Unbelievable. Unreal. Absolutely loved it. And if you want more analysis on that, tune into the Nation's Corner this week as they will be breaking down all of the ins and the outs of professional wrestling this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. And also, I'll be the first one to break the news because we are live, as always. We are live because fuck it, we'll do it live. The Nation's Corner will be premiering an interview with Karen Peterson this week as Ezra, Front Row, and Neil were a part of the interview talking to Karen about the upcoming G1 tournament in Japan. So that'll be great to check out this week. And I believe it will be premiering at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Nation's Corner YouTube channel. And for those that don't know, Ezra, Neil have done some incredible interviews with Karen over the last couple of years. When the AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-views were happening with Japan the last couple of years, unfortunately, due to scheduling and stuff, that didn't happen this year. But the perfect timing to bring Karen on, talking about the upcoming tournament, the G1 tournament up there in Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling. The timing could be more perfect because it's happening this weekend. The tournament that gets underway. So again, if you are a fan of New Japan Professional Wrestling, be sure to check that out on the Nation's Corner YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Nation's Corner. And that'll be very good to check out. And speaking of very good, TNA will be bringing their biggest pay-per-view, or one of their biggest pay-per-views, I should say, Slammiversary this weekend on July the 20th. And tomorrow is obviously AEW Dynamite. We'll see what the next happenings leading up to All In next month are. We'll see where they go in MJF and Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland and all of that good stuff, and where they also go with Tony Storm. And my goodness, Mariah May. What an incredible ending to Dynamite last week. First hour had me with the Ospreay and MJF segment. And then the second, the Danielson and Hangman match was great. But up until the ending last week, the show didn't do it for me. I'm just my honest opinion. But that ending last week, including the match with Willow and with Mariah May, that was an incredible match. And the ending at the heel turn was so shocking. Came out of left field. None of us saw it coming. It was a great swerve, no pun intended. And Mariah just beat the holy hell out of Tony Storm.
Yeah,
Tony
she
said,
did.
watch for the shoe. Lord knows she was right. Little did she know that the shoe was going to be hitting her in the face.
Yeah, but I mean, I know AEW tries their best to compete with WWE, but there is just, I'm sorry to say this, but I get the fact that WWE had too much talent to where they had to release some people, but what AEW has done with these wrestlers that have come from WWE.
Hey, real quick. Kevin Rory is in the chat.
What's up, K-Rod?
And guess what he said? The first thing when he turned on the show, the first thing he heard was CD Ball. I cut this on just now. We're CD Ball laughing my ass off. Oh, shit. Oh my God.
That still the best one-liner in the history of the sports show. Shout out to
okay, Kev, if you're still in the chat, when you say that 60-year-old Jerry Rice would be the number one receiver on that team, oh, you're talking about the Cowboys. Oh yeah, fuck them. That's why. Anyways, I couldn't resist it. Kevin says in the chat, he says 60-year-old Jerry Rice will be the number one pick for that team at wide receiver. He ain't wrong.
Yeah, he ain't wrong.
He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
No, he's not.
Anyways, go ahead with what you were saying.
But yeah, I mean, what AEW has done with these WWE wrestlers that have come to their company, absolutely pathetic. And I say that because of one prime example, and that, of course, yes, she is a champion, which is one thing she was unable to do in WWE, but Toni Storm, they pretty much have turned her into an embarrassment, in my opinion.
I respectfully disagree, because this Toni Storm character, this was her own creation.
I mean, yeah, it was her own creation, but she was this badass tomboy in WWE, and that is the image that I loved out of Toni Storm. Because I knew she could pull something like that off. But this image, I don't like it.
Okay.
I really don't.
Okay. We can agree to disagree. I get it. It can be over the top at times. But that's your opinion.
I will say...
Who am I to tell you your opinion's wrong? Because it's your opinion.
Yeah, but I will say that the MJF Will Ospreay match that's going to happen, that's going to be a great match.
Now, I will say this. Now, I don't think this is just one match. Now, Ospreay did one in last week. And MJF said, nah, I'll see you next week. And that segment last week was phenomenal. That'll be happening tomorrow on Dynamite. And I think this is not just going to be a one match off. They're also going to wrestle, I think, at AEW All In.
Oh, no.
Oh, and also, real quick, Kevin says here in the chat, I forgot to say, he says, sail the team, referring to the Cowboys. Kev, with all due respect, brother, you know that ain't happening. You know that's not happening.
Yeah, and we also know one thing that's not going to happen. That's the fact that IU's going to be leaving the Niners, because we all know this is Deebo Samuel all over again. The 49ers are not going to let IU go.
Nope. But
not going to happen.
With that being said, Dynamite tomorrow happening. MJF versus Ospreay tomorrow. We'll see where they go with the Bryan Danielson and Swerve storyline. And also as well about last week. I love the Danielson and Hangman match, but I did not love Swerve's promo. I did not like the flow of the promo. I didn't like his deliverance of the promo. I went, And most of the time, I like Swerve's promos. I love his cadence. I love the way he walks out there with confidence and swagger. I get it, but for me, last week it wasn't good. I'm hoping that his promo will be better. Will be better tomorrow. That's just my opinion. But as far as that is concerned, and as far as I'm concerned, I think I'm good. As far as what else to talk about, are you good for the rest of the night?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Joey, your final thoughts.
I'm saying great show with you tonight, Steven. Yeah, it was just a two-man crew tonight because of some severe storms that tore through the Chicago area last night. Yes, and Ezra, I hope you and your family are doing okay, brother.
Because you're having no power, no electricity, having to go out there and charge your phone in the car. I get it. Sucks. Oof.
Yeah.
I hate that. Having no power, having nothing.
But
it's not fun.
But at the end of the day, what matters the most is that Ezra and his family are 100% safe.
Absolutely. And we look forward to having Ezra on with us next week on the sports show. And
that's what matters most and more than anything. And the National League, I mean the All-Star game has indeed the first pitch happened about 30 minutes ago. So the All-Star game is happening right now on Fox. Again, check your local listings. And tonight was July the 16th, so that means in 3 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, more specifically, August the 6th, we will begin our coverage, conference by conference, of the upcoming National Football League season. So be sure to tune in from August 6th to August 27th as we will preview all 8 conferences in their respective American and National Football conferences.
Yep.
So be prepared for that.
We're looking forward to that because when the month of August comes around, we're going to be busy. We're going to be busy.
Yes,
oh boy, but I cannot wait for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
But until then, peace out.
And again, great show with you, Joey, and thank you for Randy being in the chat and for Kevin coming in at the perfect time, us saying the magical term CD ball. And if you want to find out glorious soundbite, go to the September 13th, 2022 episode. It is in the archives. It's in the can. If you're a Cowboys fan, I'll forewarn you. You've been warned. But then again, who cares? Anyways, can't wait to come back on the show with you guys next week, and looking forward to having Ezra back on with us next week, and hope to have Kevin on here sometime soon. We miss having our brother on, and it was great having Randy and William on last week, talking about the world of sports until their internet crashed. I wanted the Wyand 6 take control of that. Just saying. But with that being said, I have been your host for this season, Stephen Wyand. And thank you for joining us here tonight for another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care of each other. Be good to one another. Be good to your family. Be good to your friends. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them how much you care for them. Send them a text. Give them a call. Because you never know, you may brighten somebody's day. Be good to one another. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the baseball season when it gets underway. Enjoy the All-Star game tonight. Enjoy the wrestling this weekend, folks, and throughout the rest of this week. And we will see you next week. Same time, same YouTube channel at our Nation Sports Show. So again, for Ezra Vickery, Kevin Rory, Randy Gyron, William Gyron, JT Joey Thornton, I've been your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. And this has been another edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Turn me up.